Here he is. Ah,
Put him on.
Aha!
Here's my man.
That was sort of terrifying. It was like being locked in. I could hear your voice and I could see your face, and I was shouting at you, but you couldn't hear me. I was going, "I'm here! I'm here!" It's like I was sort of
Let
banging on the
me
glass of
in.
reality.
How are you, buddy?
Yoo-hoo! How you doing, man?
Yeah, good, buddy. How you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm not too bad. I tell you what I just did, right? Some neighbor gave me a tip. So I've been urinating in a plastic bottle.
Oh yeah, I'm waiting where this is going.
Just diluting it 7 or 8 parts and then pouring it on my compost.
Now this is a good subject to talk about because a lot of people were asking about compost. So you've got your own compost thing there.
Yeah, I've got my own compost bin.
Right, so this is a good one because lots of people are asking, how do you compost, particularly if you're in like an apartment or a house, or if you live in a city, like you live in London at the moment. So what is it that you do?
Well, when we were in Toronto doing Umbrella, I had an apartment, but I didn't have any outside space.
Yeah.
And I tried to compost, and it was a really bad idea because I was just doing it. What I did was I found one of those airtight food bins.
Oh, the bin thing, yeah.
Because I thought, yeah, no, that's not going to stink out the apartment. That'll be fine. So I left it in this side closet, and basically it did not go down well at all. Because as you can imagine, in order to put more compost in, you have to open up the thing. And then, so basically I ended up having to like lug it out into an alleyway next to the building and like be kind of dealing with it. So unfortunately, you can compost, in my experience, you need some outside space, even if it's like a balcony or a garden or something. We have a little communal space, me and the people who are in this old building. And I got a compost bin and I just said to them, anybody, eggshells, vegetable scraps, urine, whatever you have.
I'll take it. I'll take the lot.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing you've ever put in your compost bin? What's the most like bizarre thing you put in? Probably your own urine, or
apart from my own urine, yeah. Well, to be honest, man, everything except meat or fish.
Yeah, you just took it all in there.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, the thing about meat or fish, though, and this was another piece of sound advice, was the fact that around here, especially over the last couple of months, you could hear foxes making very loud, very aggressive, very passionate love constantly. Right? And for those
because I remember when I lived in London, they really like. It's bizarre noises.
It's really human as well. It's really, really human sounding. You know, you might have your back door, you put a patio door open or whatever, and your heart will leap into your throat because it sounds like someone's getting attacked out in the back street. But someone said if you put any kind of chicken bones or anything like that into the compost, you're asking for trouble by the army of carnivorous foxes that are out the backyard.
That is hilarious. Yeah.
Dying to get in. So,
we should talk about the Earth Locker, I suppose. So, everyone, the Earth Locker podcast, which is coming to you very, very soon. Something that me and Robert Sheehan and our very good friend Byron Knight, who you'll all get to know very well, started a little while ago, well before this lockdown started.
Yeah, exactly. Can we just make that a point, Thomas? Is the fact that, you know, the one of the greatest Corona cliches has been, let's start a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to think we started because of lockdown.
Yeah, because it's official.
We started it before.
We have video evidence to prove that we started this whole venture before said lockdown.
We did. And basically, the reason we started the Earth Locker is because we are, well, for a few reasons, but basically one of the reasons that I found that it would be great to do it is because we are, as actors, sometimes in a fortunate position that we get put in front of experts in certain fields, particularly in health and wellness, in environmental schemes, charities. And we felt like a lot of these causes, a lot of these schemes and these companies are hidden from the masses, hidden from you, the people. And we want you to know about them. We want you to know about the experts. We want you to know about all the things that are going on in the world that you actually have access to right now,
Yeah,
but you might not know about it.
Yeah, and all in the kind of efforts to be a better earthling and just have a nicer human experience. I think, you know, what's comparable between myself and yourself, Tom, in terms of having an interesting transformation. I think with you, it's been about diet, about optimizing your diet to kind of maximize quality of life, really.
Yeah, and lifestyle,
Yeah. And, you know, to some degree or another, I can compare a journey of meditation, which has kind of, to be honest, it's just what it has done is it's quietened down the mechanical aspect of the ego, which sounds a bit fluffy, but it just means that automatic voice that's constantly going on inside your head, the penguins of Madagascar, as they called it in Love. And if you could just do a very simple practice where you just sort of very consciously tell that to stop. And if you do that gently and in a welcome fashion, not in a restrictive way, for a period of time, you know, I've been doing it for about 3 years, you start to notice a profound difference inside your head, and life becomes,
and the way you perceive things and situations, the way you might deal with the situation.
Yeah, and you're not projecting negative automatic stuff into social situations or whatever, a job interview, or perhaps you're constipated or whatever it is. Or all three at once, imagine.
Yeah, which is a terrible scenario.
Yeah, so I think we both want to take a very active approach in kind of helping ourselves to be better earthlings, and thereby helping others to be better earthlings, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I think a lot of the Earthlocker that we've realized is that we want to, the stimulus behind it is we want to help as many people as possible, you know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of information out there that you can either take on or not, you know. This is everyone's own personal journey, and you can take what you want from it. But we found it really, really interesting talking to some of these people, and we're really excited for all you people to listen to them and see what they have to say and see if it connects with you, because we're having some stories from people, inspirational stories from people that have had amazing health turnarounds through changing their lifestyle. You know,
and who are some of those people we've been speaking to? We've been speaking to the what was it, the Naveen Jain, who founded a company called Viome. It's all about essentially a company whose philosophy is that you can opt in or opt out of sickness based on a very, very dialed in diet that agrees with the gut flora that exists. Which all comes from a very fine-tuned science, where they can see, using this algorithm, they can see where the microbes from certain foods will dictate whether you get an inflammatory response or an inflammatory response. So it's certain foods,
so like if it's an anti-inflammatory response, it means that he's bringing all that sickness down in your body. And you can take away the foods that have an inflammatory response.
Because they said what was nice about that was they said the 21st century has been the century of chronic illness, as opposed to the last century, which was everything else.
More like acute.
Leprosy.
You know, all the other stuff. The plague.
1996. But I think chronic illness is such a modern phenomenon, isn't it? And things like Alzheimer's, diabetes, Crohn's, colitis, all those things can be.
Well, so many things that I'm hoping the people that listen to the podcast will take away from it and think, I know someone like that, because, or it's me, you know, because these diseases, these chronic illnesses, I can pretty much guarantee that you'll either know someone with one of them, or you'll have experienced it yourself.
My sister was plagued with something of the gut for years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, colitis. But
colitis is a big one.
It's very common. Very common.
Yeah, Bobby Maximus, actually, who Bobby Maximus, a trainer that I've worked with. We're interviewing on tomorrow. I think we're interviewing him.
Oh, the 5th.
He's got an amazing story. Like, he was on death's door, man, and Viome turned his life around. Yeah. It's an incredible story. So he's a big one. I'm really excited about.
I
So
think
we
what's
should.
interesting, it's interesting for me about Viome, Tom, is like we all sort of operate on the theory that the mind is the sort of centralized headquarters, and that sort of is in charge of every, it's sort of it basically carries the load of living,
Yeah.
health. But now modern science is starting to shift us more back towards
The gut.
an ancient revelation. What's so fascinating for me about this podcast is we're talking to all these clever clog scientists who are essentially coming around to a scientific conclusion that kind of mirrors or parallels ancient thinking,
Yeah.
Really fascinating.
Well, what it is it makes you realize that all these modern things that we've been, that the man-made things, right? So the man-made little twerks on society. So like fast
Twerks, you
food
say?
and twerks.
All right, I will.
That's a little twerk on society, right there. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff.
I think that's just proven that neither of us can twerk.
We can't twerk. I need Laura to come. She can twerk very well. She's doing a family Zoom quiz downstairs.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's so kind of blitz spirit,
I had to run downstairs and tell her what certain logos were. Like at a pub quiz.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
like, what are all these logos? I had to run downstairs and go, right, that's Toyota, that's Volkswagen. I had to do all these things.
Yeah. I have a mate he's been the quiz master for the past 3 Friday evenings. But and I'm part of his like admin WhatsApp group. So I get all of those pictures with the different logos or with different characters for films or whatever. But to be honest, I've been flaky and I haven't actually played the quiz yet. But I kind of feel like I haven't been looking at.
You've never.
Like, oh, that's Chelsea. Yeah, that's Man United.
Yeah, you'll know the odd answer. Just chime in. Right? Shall we open the forum here to some? I mean, I've got a feeling there's going to be a huge amount of. We've got questions here. Okay, how do you think?
Oh yeah. So the other thing is the podcast is going to become available around the time, maybe just a little bit before the release of the Umbrella Academy. And that release we can't really fully announce yet because they would have us killed. So quite literally. So you just see, imagine, just as I said,
you just see a red dot appear here.
Just a little N Netflix red laser, just.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh, someone just said, where can we hear the podcast? Where can we get it? Well, it's going to for sure be on the Earthlocker website. But there's a good chance it will be on the majority of the platforms, certainly Apple and Spotify, but and YouTube as well, because we are videoing.
I think
it won't be just audio.
Yeah, there'll be a sort of a kind of a website HQ, the earthlocker.com.
Yeah.
And then there'll be the Instagram page, which you can all subscribe to and follow. Yes. Excuse me. And then it'll end up on YouTube and Spotify, I'm sure, and all that. But as long as we'll keep badgering you with more up-to-date announcements about where it'll be available and all that.
Someone's just said, "Are you actually reading comments?" Yes, we are. So let's ask questions, guys. Let's get some questions going. What do you got to say? So a few laughy faces here. There's a few people just saying random things. Well, what questions you got?
Is the Umbrella Academy coming soon? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Summertime.
Where does the name come from? Is a good one. The Earth Locker. Well, basically, the Earth, we feel, has a bunch of secrets that people don't know about and they should know about. They're being hidden from you, and in some cases, the extreme, they're making you sick. So we have created a locker from the Earth, which we are unpacking for you, all the world's secrets.
And it's quite piratical.
It is.
It's quite piratical.
Let's not forget that.
And we will do all the episodes with eye patches and parrots and so on.
And a parrot. Yeah. Byron's picture on the logo.
I think, what? Oh, I got a good question there for what's your go-to relaxation? That's nice.
Oh, that's
I
good.
like
That's good.
Aphex Twin's Ambient Works albums. I love them. I love Brian Eno's ambient work.
Oh yeah.
Brian Eno, I heard some. Yeah, he produces Coldplay. He's been producing stuff for years and years and years since the 70s. But he was in hospital for something, and he couldn't like he was basically bedridden for a few days, and there was a radio on very, very low, so he couldn't quite hear out what was kind of happening, the specifics, but there was just this sort of, it created this sort of strange ambience, which at first it's like, oh God, either turn it off or turn it up. I can't, but essentially he sort of embraced it, and that's where all of his, I think the inspiration for his ambient music work came from. He created an album called Music for Airports, which is really cool.
Oh
Music
wow,
for Airports.
that's quite
Someone
good.
just wrote that up.
Someone's put it on
Yeah.
there.
How hard is it
Someone
to
just-
do an
someone just
American
said-
accent?
Well, someone just said, how do you deal with procrastination? Procrastination.
Oh,
That's a
tricky.
tough one, because
Yeah, that is a tough one.
I don't have much time to procrastinate now. I've got children. Whenever I got a moment, I'm like, right, boom, work. I think the key to procrastination, or not in this case, is to always. I always try to have like new goals. I always try to have new aspirations. So my day is so filled with stuff I need to do that I don't have time for procrastinating, because I want to get stuff done. So I think setting new goals, setting new things I want to achieve is the way to do it. That's something
Yeah,
that I do.
I'll be honest. I've had an interesting challenge, Tom. I've been writing this book of short stories, and to be honest, great. Obviously, in no way keeping my head in the sand to the loss and everything that's going on. But my Corona experience has been quite a sort of a bubble. Really in the sense of,
Yeah.
I'm sort of going for long walks and writing and stuff, but I do suffer with procrastination when it comes to motivating myself enough to just sit down and do something that I need to do. I suppose one of the ways in which I've managed to or get by it is, well, one, the fact that there's a deadline. There's a deadline, which is a very, very real thing, which I have to do. It's a contractual obligation. Which is,
how long do they give you for something like that? Like what? How, like, if they say, "Oh right, we're going to publish the book," and then they go, "You've got 1 week starting now." Like how long do they give you?
It's been, to be honest with this one, it's been okay, because I've had about 4 months, and I have another.
Oh, okay.
I have another good month and a half before I have to actually really show them something. And then I think after that you can still do bits and bobs and tweaks. But one of the ways I got around was just sitting down and not expecting anything of the result. I think that's the big part of procrastination sometimes, is that you can envision the finishing, and the pressure to arrive there is terrifying. And so someone's just put
deadlines create fear, which is true.
It is, yeah.
A deadline means that, because I remember this when I had coursework at school, I used to think, oh my God, I've got to get it done in this amount of time. And I used to not do my best work. Whereas if I just got the time to think about it and know that there's no deadline to something, it's like training. It's like lifestyle of my working out and stuff. I'm not training for a specific event like an athlete or anything. It's for life. It's so I can enjoy my training. I can do whatever I want on any of these workout days. Because I'm not like, oh, I've got to make sure I'm making that weight, or I've got to make sure I'm hitting that bench press. It's just to do it. Whereas whenever I've had to do it for a goal, like for a men's health shoot or something, and I know it's in that, the stress and pressure I put on myself
because
in the past.
You're in the future. You're not in the moment. The future is kind of bubbling up to rob you of the joy of the now, which is really all we ever have.
Yeah, which is the key, which we talked about before, is enjoying the journey. If you don't enjoy the journey to the destination, then what's it for? What's it all for?
Yeah, you won't enjoy the destination. You won't enjoy if you achieve your goal. It will be bittersweet, because you have been asleep the entire time you've been trying to get there, because you've been you've been laboring under an illusion or an illusory thing, and
That's right.
that's something else we talk about the podcast. You know, spirituality obviously is, for me anyway, underpins our entire material existence. And you know, essentially meditation is about bringing you back to what is actually here and now, and taking away things like deadlines, taking away things like traumatic memories, if you can, obviously within reason, removing those things from your moment, and just realizing what you are without those things.
Yeah.
And what, you know, and that is a lifelong exploration which changes and evolves and undulates, and I think complements everything we're talking about. And you know, it has improved my procrastination. Hasn't cured it, but
Yeah, well, that's
certainly
the
improved
thing. I
it.
mean, like sometimes that's it, because I used to be a terrible procrastinator, and then I think I went through these little moments like that, like the like a journey to a destination, and thinking there's no benefit to this at all. I just get more and more stressed. And as we all know, stress is the worst. So any way to go, I just got to get rid of that, this feeling, to enjoy it. Okay, so what we got here?
They're flying past. How do you remove those?
Yeah, I know.
What are you
can take.
eating? What am I eating?
What are you eating, Rob?
I did a nice sweet potato coconut soup.
Oh, that thing. Yeah, that sounds delicious. You told me about that. I made tonight. I posted it on Instagram. I made so on my Viome resort. Tomato is an avoid for me, right? And I love pizza.
Right. Okay. So just really quickly, for people listening, tomato is an avoid food,
right?
Yeah. On the foods that have been approved for your microbiome. So tomato causes you a small amount of inflammation.
Yeah. There's like a specific virus in my gut apparently that tomato fuels and will cause inflammation in my body.
Wow.
And I love pizza, but for a long time ago I cut out like refined carbs like white flours and stuff like that. So I started making these pizza bases out of cauliflower and flaxseed, and then an egg, and I bind it all together and I make a crust. I bake a crust, and it's bang on. It works perfectly. But tomato, I was like, oh no, I can't have pizza anymore because of tomato. And I thought, and then Dr. Mark Hyman put on that he made like a butternut puree. He made like this sweet potato puree with a bit of garlic and a bit of onion, blitzed it all up and made it into a puree.
Lovely.
And then put it all over the baked crust. Man, put a little bit of organic chicken on there. It was smoking. It was so good. I got like a real good pizza fix. It was amazing. So I used to love pizza, man.
Yeah. So have you done this? Have you made this?
Yeah, the sweet potato puree. Yeah, if you look at my Instagram story, on my Instagram story tonight, I'm going to put it on. The picture of the pizza is on there.
Oh, nice one.
Yeah, it's really good. It's nice. It was tasty.
So
tomato has a lot of sugar. Is that why? No, it's not why. I don't know what it has in it. It's like there's a virus or something that tomato holds for some people's gut.
You, Tom. I did this same test, and it referred to the virus as the squash mosaic virus.
So you've got a certain squash one. Which one have you got? The butternut squash one?
No, that's on tomatoes.
Oh, that's on tomatoes.
Yeah.
And I assume it
eats tomatoes.
I've got tomato mosaic virus. So
Yeah,
this is the interesting thing about Viome.
Hello, Singapore. Yeah, I think that's.
Hey, Singapore. The only thing that's brilliant about it, that I love, is that it redefines that every human body is completely different. So all these diets you hear about, and people going, you should eat this diet, you should eat this. I've heard this diet's really great. It doesn't mean anything. This is a game changer in terms of the way we look at each human body's makeup. You know, like Laura has some foods on her list of Viome foods that are a superfood for her, but are an inflammatory one for me and an avoid. So it's an amazing test. Like, we highly recommend people get it done if they want to feel good.
Yeah.
Liverpool in the
Adopt
house.
me, please. What do you all think? Please say. Let's see. Question. Throw us a few questions. Ideally about the Earth Locker, but it can be about anything, I assume. Hello. Hello. Yes. Hello to
Any
Poland.
any advice how to keep busy during lockdown? Well,
Ooh.
that's a good one because it depends where you live, I think. I mean, I've found this that,
Yeah.
I've got the luxury of living in like rural England, and we're very fortunate to have a nice backyard where the kids can run around on these sunny days and stuff. And I just, we work out and I run around with the kids, and
Mm.
it's been great in a lot of ways. But I have to say, some people that I know in cities or who live in apartments, it's like a freaking prison, man. Like my brother's in Dubai at the moment, and every time he flies back from a flight, because he's a pilot, every time he flies back to Dubai, he has to be in quarantine in his apartment, isn't allowed to leave for 14 days.
How does he eat, Tom?
Like, his wife is allowed to leave because she hasn't been out of the country, but because he's a pilot, he leaves the country. So they either order in food or she goes out and gets the food and brings it back. But
Wow.
he's like, I'm calling it like his glamorous prison because he lives in
Yeah.
this really nice apartment, but he's getting no sunlight.
It's tough.
It's really hard for people in apartments who can't actually get outside. I mean, the thing is, if you're in a place that you can go out and go for walks, man, freaking move. Go out and go for a walk. Keep your distance from people and
Yeah.
just get your steps up. You got to move, man. Movement is key to health,
Absolutely.
mentally,
Come here,
more than anything else.
I saw a few comments fly by there, Thomas, saying, "Where do you get this gut test?" It's from a company called Viome, Viome.
Yeah,
But there's also other
yeah,
companies. Depending on where you are, you can
yeah,
essentially get a microbiome test, and that'll tell you
yeah.
about
So
the specifics
that
of your
one
gut
is
flora.
viome.com if you want to
Yeah.
get that one. That's a really good
Um,
one.
Thingy, yeah. I've been doing again. It all depends on, as you said, Tom, what you have. I've been doing a bit of gardening. I've been trying to
Yeah.
increase my abilities around the old plants because I don't like, sometimes you hear that thing, oh, that person has a green thumb, and I kind of think it's sort of counterproductive. It's a bit bullshit
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it basically says, oh, that person has it and then that person doesn't have it, but plants don't
yeah.
give a fuck who's
No, no, no.
planting. It was just about learning something, and actually
Just
now I've
keep me
got
alive.
what what's that?
Well, they'll sit there. They don't care who's keeping them
Yeah,
alive.
whose thumb is up their arse or not? Here, actually, let me show you. Let me show you quickly. One thing.
Plants don't give a fuck. They don't.
Here we go.
Are you guys still
Here's
working?
one fella
Yeah,
I just
working hard.
transplanted. Right, so they
Oh wow, amazing.
they're tomatoes and chilies.
Oh, I love that you've got tomatoes in there when we just discussed that you've got a tomato virus and you've
Oh
got.
yeah, they're just really easy to grow, Tom. They're just.
They are.
I don't care. I'm happy to take a bit of inflammation in the gut.
Absolutely, take it. If you grew it yourself, will you marry me? Who's that question to? Which one of us? Who knows? Probably Robert.
Where are we? Oh! Where are we? Yes.
How often will
Why don't
the
we talk about
Earthlocker
Lord
podcast be
Byron?
released to?
Lord
Oh, Hilly Hindi. Oh, there's Hilly Hindi. Hi, Hilly. She, Hilly
Hilly.
Hindi did the Hollywoody. What's the? I'm so sorry. I forget what the name of the show is.
Oh yeah, Hillywood.
The Hillywood. The Hillywood.
Hillywood. That was brilliant. Crikey, that
The
was
Umbrella
like a crowdfunded
Academy.
thing, wasn't it?
Oh my God! I know. Yeah, it's fully
Spoof.
crowdfunded. But the Umbrella Academy spoof, if you haven't seen it, go and watch that Hillywoody spoof. It is amazing, and they take the piss out of
Yeah,
it
it
brilliantly. So please go and watch that. Give those guys some love. I can't remember what your question was now, Hilly.
Hilly Hindi.
What was it?
There was a nice book question that came past saying, what was the last book I read? The last book I read was De Profundis by Oscar Wilde. Just to give that a rattle. Partly because I was interested in. Go on.
I was going to say
Is
there's a couple of
kids
books.
eco-friendly? I don't think so. De Profundis.
Sure
Partly because I live not too far from the prison that they put Oscar Wilde in after they convicted him of homosexuality back in the late 19th century. And I was just really curious about a story. And the De Profundis is a really profoundly painful long letter that he wrote to his sort of ex-lover, Lord Alfred Douglas, who sort of orchestrated his conviction to some degree, him and his father. But so De Profundis thing I read, and I found it immensely inspiring. It was really, really, really.
You know, I love it when a book does that, man. Like, it's something. It's so great when a book properly hits you, you know, and it inspires you, and it changes you, and it makes you think about things in a completely different way. It's powerful.
It's nice
stuff.
because it gives you sort of external equipment to deal with an internal affair that you may have consciously or unconsciously experienced many times in the past. You know that lovely feeling when you're reading a book, you read something, you go, oh yeah. You've already experienced the thing, but you just didn't have the equipment you used to give it a shape, you know, in the exterior. That's what's so nice about 1984 is the fact that the first thing that this authoritarian regime does is starts to limit language, limit language, because language is what casts a light on the kind of human experience, the internal human words are how we navigate ourselves internally, emotionally, and everything else. So what would you? That's a nice little Corona activity.
Yeah, read it. I mean, I tell you, I'm going through
read stuff you enjoy.
Absolutely. I'm going through tons of audiobooks as well at the moment. Like, I fall asleep to them at night. But I read this great one. There's a couple really. There's one by my friend actually, Max Lugavere, called Genius Foods, which is, you know, me, of course, I love this kind of thing. Like you say, read something that you're passionate about. And Genius Foods is all about all the foods that can actually prevent things such as chronic disease like Alzheimer's. The choices that we make right now, so we're like in our 30s, right? It's the choices we make in our 20s and 30s and our 40s of food and what we put in our body that dictate whether we will get Alzheimer's or diabetes or heart disease or any of these problems, cancer, later in life. It's the choices we're making like 20 years in advance. That's what's really interesting. And I was like, oh my God, like it inspired me even more to make sure that I'm making the right decisions for me and my family, you know, and trying to provide them with the right food. Because, you know, Alzheimer's and things like that is a horrendous condition, and we have no idea really what causes it. But there's a lot of science and research showing that it's these decisions we're making now.
We also talk about autism quite a bit, Tom, on the podcast.
Yeah. Well,
and
a lot
its
of
connection to do with diet and.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. I mean, there's a lot of these people we know. You know, Freddie, my son, is autistic, and we've been doing a lot of research with a lot of these people that we're working with into the diet and how the amazing changes that we've had with Freddie because of the diet choices we've made, you know, for him. You know, I see a lot of kids who are on the autistic spectrum who are eating a lot of junk food, right? And it sends their sensory glands through the roof. And we had the same thing with Freddie. If Freddie ever like tried something, it would send him through the roof. And it's a game changer, I think. If there are scientists out there that could get hold of what's going on in the gut of a child with autism, and actually, you know, get some traction on that, then it would be huge. What are the? Oh yeah.
Please speak Spanish. I don't know if I can help you there. Hola, ¿qué tal?
Hola.
España.
Someone just put, wait, do you guys have a podcast?
We do soon.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's the art
do you know
behind
what?
you,
Another
Rob?
thing, Tom. What's that?
Sorry, there's a
What's
delay.
the art?
Go on, say it again. Yeah, someone just said, "What's the art behind
This
you?"
is a
It's a whale.
this is
Hi, New
yeah,
Zealand.
a dear friend of mine called Joe Sangre. In fact, I think he has an Instagram called Screamin' Joe Sangre, and as you can see, he's a confused and complicated character
Yeah.
who spends a lot of his time. I think it's every painting that Joe does is a sort of self-portrait that he's being. And actually, that painting, I got it from him, is supposed to hang vertically so that the little businessman who's attached to the white whale is being kind of dragged down to the bottom of the sea. But then,
I see him. Yeah, I couldn't
then
see him. I couldn't. I just saw some like wiring or something. Oh wow. Oh God. Yeah, that's quite.
it's,
Yeah. Well, that changes it. If he's, it's very black fish, isn't it? If you take it the other way around. If you go vertical,
yeah,
it's quite dark.
yeah,
Like he's being dragged down.
yeah. It's very Captain Ahab. Yeah.
Yeah,
Do
it
I
is, yeah.
have another language apart from the language of love? No, sadly not. No, I've just been concentrating on English. I'd love to speak
Yeah.
another language, but this is maybe back to the procrastination theme. How do you
Yeah.
struggle changing your kids' diet? There's a good question.
How did I struggle?
Mm.
It was tough. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, the biggest thing with these things, like any kind of huge challenge, is taking each little bit at a time. Like you don't look at the end goal of, oh man, I really hope that one day he's just only eating this and he's not eating any sugar. We just literally started implementing little bit by bit, and day by day we would try and take a little bit away, take a little bit more away. And there was some days that were much harder than others. He would like be screaming for something with like sugar in, and it was just an eventual process and now we're at a point, and that's the other thing, is implementing alternatives, trying to find alternatives, and just day by day, you get there, you chip away at the challenge, and it becomes, before you know it, you're like, oh man, he doesn't eat any sugar anymore. He doesn't eat really any junk food anymore. He's pretty much clean of it. And then, with the Viome thing, it's honing in to a fine point now of like all the things that we know are no good for him, and then the things that are. There's a huge thing that there's a.
Tom, have you noticed as a result of making all these dietary changes, have you noticed a change in Freddie, in his disposition, his temperament?
Certainly his temperament. He went through a stage when he was eating more processed food and sugars that he was kind of uncontrollable, I would say. He went through a stage where he was aggressive, and he was never ever aggressive as a young child. Like he was just the most loving little boy. And then he kind of got gradually, because Laura and both of us, we wanted him to have variety in his diet. We didn't want him to be like so strict that we'd only eat this and he'd only eat that. So we kind of just let him eat what he wanted, and we just let it sort of do it in moderation. And then it just sort of happened overnight that he just got addicted to that kind of food. Right.
Yeah.
He just didn't want anything else. He only wanted like crisp packets. He only wanted like cookies, and that was it. He was highly, highly addicted. And we noticed this change in his behavior, that he became like aggressive, and like this aggressive little child that was uncontrollable. You couldn't get his attention. And then when we realized that was what the problem was, and we did a lot of research, and they were like, you should try taking him off sugar, you should try taking off processed foods. We started doing it, and oh my God, it was huge. Like he just calmed right down. We're able to actually connect with him. He started giving us more eye contact, because that was one thing that got so much worse. You just couldn't even connect with him. You couldn't get eye to eye. And then now we get a lot of that. And again, it's about cleaning out all those toxins that are built up, because in a child with autism, their gut is there's a process called the NEMCheck protocol, and it's about balancing out the omega-3, 6, and 9. So you have 3 omegas, right? Omega-3, 6, and 9.
Yeah.
And in a child with autism, they say that, and this is coming from like many case studies of research, that the 6 is very, very high, which is bad. You've like got a complete imbalance. You need to bring up the 3 and the 9 and reduce the 6 because it's all kind of out of balance. It's out of whack, and that's why these problems can occur. So the more
are there types of food that are particularly high in 6 and low in 3 and 9, or the opposite?
Yeah, so 3 is like your fatty fish, like all the good stuff. So like olive oil, certain nuts, like high omega-3 with it, like the small little fish and like salmon, wild salmon. You can get all sorts of omega-3s, but 6 is the bad one. 6 is what is full of. It's in all of our food now. It's like canola oil, sunflower oil, vegetable oil, almost processed meats, and a lot of processed foods like packets of chips, crisps, things like that. High 6, which is trans fats. We've talked about trans fats on the podcast. Trans fats are bad. We don't want that. It's high in inflammation. So 9 will be in things like certain nuts, like macadamias and things like that. But really, bringing up the 3 is one thing that where most people are low in is 3,
right?
And everyone's high in 6.
Crikey!
Yeah. So you got to balance that out. That's all it is, really. So we're in the process right now of trying to do that, which takes time. You know, so it's a process. But like I say, you take each day as it comes, and just take one little bit. You know, you don't try and look at the end goal of thinking, oh, will he ever talk? Will he ever, you know, do this, that, or the other? It's all about tomorrow.
Yeah. Hey, for those of you who have just tuned in, I just saw a bit of traffic there, Tom. Go for it. Podcast.
Yeah.
So our podcast, myself and Tom, another guy called Byron, Lord Byron Knight. We're doing this podcast called The Earth Locker, just sort of throwing around ideas, getting interesting, clever earthlings on to talk about improving the planet and our experience on it. That's basically what the podcast is. And that can be through diet, that can be through spirituality, that can be through activity, you know, could be through basically, it's a pretty broad remit, you know. We're just kind of, we're throwing good positive ideas around. Because, you know, speaking of, actually, I just watched, I don't know if many of you watched that Unacknowledged on Netflix, which is really, really fascinating. It's kind of, it's sort of an attempt to bring back the discussion around unidentified flying objects and the overwhelming evidence, eyewitness evidence of them, you know, for years and years and years, right? Because the whole subject has been sort of widely discredited, and you know, you're a kook if you talk about aliens and so on. But one of the things that was quite interesting and it pertained to what we're talking about was the fact that this guy, Dr. Stephen Greer, who's the sort of center of the documentary, he's worked with the CIA and the NSA, he's a doctor for years and years and years. He was the one who had to tell Bill Clinton, listen, mate, you don't have access to them files. Sorry. Like literally, there's a in the US government, there's a whole military industrial complex. There are black ops operations that get highly, highly funded that the president has absolutely no access to.
He's like the guy in Independence Day where he goes, Mr. President, that's not entirely accurate.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, how does he know? The president doesn't know. It's like there's a whole of the wing that know.
This is based on fact, according to Unacknowledged. But one thing was really interesting was he said that all those billions of dollars that have gone to fund these black ops operations are now keeping secret things that could completely revolutionize the planet technologically. You know, they have these energy generators that they've taken off of alien spacecraft, which can, like Nikola Tesla said, it can extract the energy out of the empty space in the air, right? Which is another way of saying that you can harvest energy from the kind of quantum fabric of reality around us. And these devices, which they have and they can activate and they can operate, can literally draw energy out of the air around it. So like imagine a future where if we, all of us, the world, the whole Earth Locker together, put pressure on the governments and said, we want that technology to power our homes, to power our cars, to power our phones, so that we stop drilling in the North Sea for fucking oil. We stop drilling for big wells of natural gas and fucking up the planet. We have these devices on the planet Earth that can draw air. Imagine if we had that at the basis of our society.
I know.
You know, the world would change overnight. And this
Wow.
guy, Dr. Stephen Greer, who we are getting on the fucking podcast, definitely, I'm going to track him down.
Yeah, we're getting him on.
I'm going
We'll
to
get him
throw a
on.
rope around him if needs be.
Oh my
We're going to
God.
get him on and talk about this device and talk about how do we, what has to happen for us to put pressure on governments to essentially open up the files, look at
Yeah.
them in a non-woo-woo kind of way, and actually see how we can help humanity. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Well,
check
if there's
out that
something-
doc of all of you if you're interested. Unacknowledged.
Yeah, I
Then-
got to watch that.
Yeah, it's really, really, really fascinating. There was another part of it where, at some point, I think it was in the early 1980s. It was more recent like that. It was anyway. The US decided it would be a great idea to detonate a nuclear bomb in space.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Which was great. It's like a kid with a firecracker. And so they shot it up into the air, and then an unidentified flying object flew alongside it, shot little lasers at it, and then it just fell out of the sky in space and didn't detonate.
Oh my God.
And this guy, Steve
So where did
Greer,
where did it land?
it just fell beyond the stratosphere, but it
Oh, wow.
was essentially neutralized from detonating. And they said
Okay.
a lot of the sightings of these what are they called, UFOs or ARVs or whatever, a lot of them are around military nuclear bases. So they're monitoring
Interesting.
because we have the ability to destroy worlds now, and they're aware that we have this. And I think they're trying to kind of gently guide us away from mass destruction,
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Yeah. Well, I had this fascination for a while about those doom towns.
What's that?
They call them doom towns. I think I think it was doom towns when they did a bunch of nuclear bomb testing.
Oh yeah.
And they made these little houses with all these dummies in with, and I had this fascination with them for a while. I'm like, what are they doing? Are they still there? Those houses and stuff, or are they just gone now? But I find the whole thing about a nuclear bomb and why they exist, it's a very scary thing, because they're just this kind of this overseeing threat that's always just sort of there lingering.
And once that technological cat was out of the bag in the 1960s, everybody thought it was a matter of days before somebody
exactly
got their hands
going
on
to press the button
technology and build something.
Someone just said, how often will the podcasts be out? We are going to have one out weekly, I believe.
But once we release, Tom, we're going to release maybe hopefully 9 or 10 episodes all at once, so you guys can maybe get a sense of what the podcast is, right?
I think that's the idea, is that you'll be able to do somewhat of a binge of our first few eps, to see what we're all about, and then it'll be one a week after that. So plenty of footage for you to get your teeth into.
I just love that one was so fresh in my mind, because it's such a lateral way of fixing problems. You wouldn't sit down with a environmental action company and go, aliens, right? This is the way we're going to solve everything. They go, could you leave our office, please, and put that pen down? I love that. I just don't know where. We just don't know. It just reminds us that we don't know where the answers are going to come from. And I think
we don't. Well, that's what's so mad about the coronavirus and the conspiracies of corona, because there is something to be said for how much of the world is affected by it now. And
we're sort of one global community.
And it's the way it's sort of caused this kind of like just spread, and it's sort of like a viral nuclear bomb in that sense, It's just kind of gone and just spread and just causing damage everywhere. And the thing is that what we don't know, I mean, we've talked about this, like what the onset effects will be,
Yeah.
you know, the economical effects, but also like a lot of people's mental health will be affected from this. So, you know, talking about people locked up in their apartments and stuff, it's tough, you know, and
It is.
people's marriages, you know, there's been the rate of domestic violence calls to the emergency services has gone up to like 70% or something. It's gone up 70%, man. That's insane.
Wowza. Good
So
Lord.
there's a lot of pressure on people's lives in ways way more than just the virus itself. You know, a huge
Yeah,
knock-on
yeah,
effect.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's all the kind of, it's all the unforeseen knock-on effects that you'd never anticipate. I heard a really great thing in Socialist Canada a few years ago. They did this experiment where they gave poorer people a bunch of start money and said,
Yeah,
here, we're going to invest in you instead of, you know, constantly asking for money. We're going to give you a little starter investment if you qualify. And the biggest upshot of the experiment was divorce.
really.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody
that's
got
it, man.
divorced.
Yeah, it's like Christmas, the time after Christmas, because people have to spend time with each other. You know, they have to spend,
Mm,
and then it's all the different strains. It's like this financial strain. There's a strain of the kids and like, or just like the immersion factor of just always being under each other's skin all the time. It's the
yeah.
highest. It's the highest time and percentage of divorces is
Mm.
straight after the new year. Apparently, it's a great time to be a realtor, to be an estate agent, because they just get in all the rentals because like there's all these dads being chucked out of the houses. Like, I need to rent a house. Been chucked
Wow.
out
In January.
in January. Yeah,
How
it's
deeply
popular.
depressing, huh? Ho, ho,
People, people,
ho! Happy holidays!
yeah. Here you go. One divorce on me.
Yeah.
They a lot of people are saying we'll be talking about mental health on the podcast. Yes, we
Yeah,
will, absolutely. It's a
yeah.
huge part of health. You know, mental health is everything, and
And only from our own perspective. I think
yeah.
really all of this is just our own
Well, this is what's really
experiences.
important to say. Actually, is
Yeah, yeah.
while we're on is that we are not giving advice. We are
Yeah.
talking about from our own experience, things that have happened to us, and
Mm,
if you connect with that, then great. But we are bringing experts on that are talking about actual scientific research and stuff that's being done. But we, as hosts,
mm.
are there to bring it to you, the from the experts. But we are not giving advice. We're telling
Yeah,
you
because
about
like
our own experiences.
we're better off as ignoramuses in this podcast
Yeah, yeah,
anyway.
which is probably what we are. We're
Yeah. And I think
you know,
we're coming out, I think, at the start of this whole thing and saying we don't know anything, you know, and but I think
yeah,
it's always best to attack the world in that way. Somewhat, you know,
absolutely.
sometimes I struggle with other podcasts because, you know, you start to like it, and then after a while, the hosts, the things that they believe that they know, that they kind of corral conversations back around to, which of course
Yeah,
everybody does to some degree. But I think
yeah.
it's
It's a confirmation bias, isn't it? It's the thing that you always try
yeah,
and
it's a
do.
confirmation bias, yeah, and it's something
Yeah,
that I think a position of ignorance helps you to avoid. You know,
yeah.
it's just
Oh,
about
what
sort of
in the martial arts world, there's a saying which I try to adhere to all the time, which is always a white belt, right?
yeah,
So no matter how much you know about anything, if
mm,
you should always, I always feel you should always be in that place where you want to learn. You know nothing. Tell me everything. I want to know. Be a sponge, because otherwise,
yeah,
if
yeah,
as
yeah.
soon as you're at that point where you know something more. Like I'm always, you know, like I know a little bit about nutrition, right? And like I mean a little bit compared to some people, but I want people to turn around to me and question something that I think I know, and they say, "Well, actually, I've
Mm,
heard this because I've seen this bit of research." I want to be like,
mm,
"Where is that? Let me go and look it up," because
mm.
things are always changing, and there's the thing with mad thing with opinion crossed over with science, especially when it comes to health and nutrition and all this sort of stuff that we're talking about, is it's always changing. It's forever changing. Science is always changing. So it's interesting stuff.
Mm. It is, yeah, yeah. And the more you know, the more you don't know you don't know. That's the truth, isn't it?
That is it.
Some philosopher said that. I believe it was Donald Duck. But,
He's one of the best.
he's one of the greatest. Oh yeah, by the way, I saw a thing flip by there. It said, will we have to pay for the podcast? Absolutely not. It'll be free.
No way.
Free of charge.
Free
Yes,
info
indeed.
to all of you.
All you'll have to do is just tell a friend or an enemy about the podcast. Either or. If
Yeah.
you have a nemesis, that you correspond with on a regular basis, tell them
Yeah.
about it. Aiden.
No.
Oh, I think Aiden is on. Is he Aiden Gallagher?
Oh, did Aiden say hi? I thought I saw a wave or something and then his little name.
Yeah,
What's up, big man?
There's been a bunch of.
How are we doing? Are you in your school uniform?
Of course he is. He's there
He's
getting
great.
tutored.
He's got longer hair last time we saw him. He looks very grungy.
He did look very grungy. He looked like
Yeah.
the rhythm guitarist of Nirvana.
Yeah, it's like people have either gone one way or the other in this lockdown. They've either like done what I've done and shaved. Well, we're actually the picture of it. You either just grow your hair and let it grow and look
I'm
like
scared
Jesus.
I'm never going to be able to find. I'm going to have to shave this off myself if this lockdown continues, because this is getting wildly out of control.
That's what happened with me because Laura shaved my head. I said just a bit off the sides, and next thing I know, she went
Good
okay.
Lord, woman.
I went eh. And I was like, right, well, I've got two options. I've got mohawk or skinhead here.
You can have a little
And,
trench on one side.
Exactly, yeah. I should have just gone with that. Looked like I got leprosy or something.
That was the other upshot of Corona that my mate told me about, that everyone started shaving their heads. I think it was that thing of no one knows when the barbershops and hair salons are going to reopen.
Yeah,
So it's
that's
like,
the thing.
ah! And I
wonder
felt
what-
a tiny bit of that.
I mean, I keep seeing people around that have got like really tidy hairdos. I'm thinking he must be a hairdresser, or his other half is, because
Yeah.
how's his hair so tight?
Do you think
It
there's
looks like
do you think there's against lockdown regulations? Do you think there's hair dressers going around houses like when you were a kid?
oh yeah. Oh, well, I was wondering this about pubs and stuff as well. I wonder if they're doing a few like cheeky lock-ins on the side.
Definitely. It was funny
They've
because
got to be, right?
our friend Lord Byron, who we do this podcast with,
Oh yeah.
he owns a lovely pub in East London called Off Broadway, and he was kind of looking at it, going, will I, will I
Yeah.
try and open the back door, sneaky?
Yeah. Can I
just
sneak a
after-
couple?
A lockdown became official in the UK. There was a story that came out about a pub in Glasgow, which was acting like a little speakeasy. It had gotten raided and a bunch of people got arrested, and that story kind of got disseminated around. And I believe that it was because our press isn't particularly free. Certainly not this time, I think. But it felt like a story to warn other publicans.
Yeah.
Like, if you think you're going to be all libertarian now and be sneaky.
Well, the media is very clever at stuff like that.
Yeah, it is.
So to make everyone go, ooh.
Yeah, that's, I think, the job of the media over the lockdown, is to make everyone go, ooh,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean the fear mongering. It's a huge way to keep people inside.
Yeah, it is. And that's another thing about the whole. Not to keep harping on about the UFO topic.
Let's everyone get back in. Here he is. And we're back.
Like magic.
There we go. Just like magic. Yeah, sorry about that.
God, we rambled on for an hour, Thomas.
Yeah.
Christ almighty.
Is that what happens? You get an hour. That's all you get.
Yeah, and then they cut you off like
And
you're insta drunk.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, mate. Outside.
I think you've had enough.
You need a break, mate.
You've had
You're
enough.
only wearing one shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Well,
yeah,
I
you
was
started saying
about
you saying about the aliens. You went was talking of aliens or something.
That there has been an ongoing policy of suppression through intimidation, through discrediting the validity of the subject, all of those things. Instead of, well, I mean, because I suppose they're trying to protect technology that would sort of, undermine the powerful of the industrial military complex, and keep back things that would essentially help humanity at large because, I suppose because they're war profiteers and, all that stuff. But those are I think that's the stuff, I think this podcast could be a vehicle for so many different things about maybe, if people
Totally.
are intrigued by the kinds of things, they can go away, they can validate those things, and then, in great numbers, tell our leaders, in the US and beyond that it's time that they open up about these things that they have,
change.
which can vastly change. Because I think the whole Corona lockdown has sort of profoundly shifted the people's perspective on what it is to be a human being on planet Earth. And I think, we were kind of sort of lightly cribbing about the media, but I think that actually the media are to credit to some degree for that, because for the first time in my life, you open up the news, which I rarely do, but you open up the news and everything is about Corona, no matter,
everything.
If it's to be believed, every country, every smartphone, every mind on planet Earth are all sort of struggling with the one issue. That's never ever happened before, but I think as
this is the thing, is like I said
feel more like a community. Yeah.
I said to Laura, I was like, when was the last time you saw news about anything else? As in, like, what's happened to all the other things that were going on right before Corona hit? Like, what's going on with wars and things? Are there still wars going on? Everything that was daily news, like Brexit, what the hell's happened to Brexit? It's just stopped. Not even like a whole thing stopped. And that's the thing, is you realise that so many of these things, when there is a global crisis like we're dealing with, something like Brexit becomes quite a small problem, doesn't it? It becomes like, well, that's like kind of yesterday's news. We'll deal with it when we have to.
Yeah, and gives it the perspective that it's so desperately required.
Yeah.
The last 6 months has been, the media, I think because, if you look at 30 years ago, there might have been a handful of newspapers to cover the London area, that were widely circulated. And then a handful more newspapers, local and national and so on. And there was a very, very finite number of perspectives on what was going on, that it was less about it was less about the attitudes of the newspaper towards the event, and it was more maybe about the event itself.
That's true.
This has been a big shift, and I think one of the reasons for that is saturation, because now people get their news from a million different sources. You ask Joe Blogs and Josephine Blogs, and one will tell you, oh, you can't trust this news source, and the other one will tell you that's the only news source that they listen to. And there's such a saturation of information in media that now it's about their opinions, and if their opinions align with your opinions, be it about Brexit, be it about aliens, whatever, then you go to that paper because you essentially are enforcing a confirmation bias.
Yeah, and same thing again.
And I think the media, especially like the election and all the Brexit stuff, the media were so, especially the right-wing media, were so incredibly, what's the word? Like, what's the opposite of subtle?
Oh, like blatant.
Deeply ham-fisted about essentially bullying everybody into voting Tory and voting for Boris. It was like, it wasn't even veiled. The front pages of things like the Daily Mail was like, just do your national duty.
Do what we say.
It was like, relax, man. It's like it's a general, it felt like the newspapers they've shifted up in anxiety level, and anything where I can read the anxiety of the author behind the information makes me repelled by that propaganda, because that's what it is. It's not fact. It's not. So I suppose I don't know what my conclusion is. Basically, we've gone off.
That's the thing. I mean, there isn't one, is there? I don't think. I mean, it's also up in the air. We don't know we don't know what is next. You know, for people who are wondering this, you know, our industry, like many industries, has
Yeah.
completely shut down. As you know, the movie industry, the acting industry, is nothing is shooting in the world right now, as far as I'm
Except
aware.
for Neighbours.
Is Neighbours still shooting?
Yeah.
I love it. Well, look, they've not stopped in like 40 years, so why stop now? Don't let
Yeah.
Corona stop it.
They said they're honoring social distancing practices, and they have camera trickery to make the actors seem closer to each other than they actually are.
I can't wait to see kissing scenes. That's
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
so
just
good. And your
slightly
camera
over the
tricky, or
shoulder
it's sort of like this.
angle, yeah, shadow.
They're just doing this. And we got it. There it is. There's a sweet spot. Right there.
That's
Don't move.
yeah. Okay, don't move. Don't, Roger. You're getting too passionate. Relax.
I can see the gap.
They're going to be all the Neighbours cast will be kissing like the Simpsons. You know, they kiss in silhouette like that.
Yeah. That's so good.
With a slight angle.
Everything will be silhouettes. Yeah. Like,
But do you know what? Actually, just to slightly bring her back, because there's so many of these comments flying past. Anyone you guys think would be a really interesting guest to get on?
send it our way.
Yeah, someone who's made their life about some good work, some interesting stuff,
Yeah.
some ideas, you know, that could really sort of.
There's always someone. What I'm finding
Spreading
is
out
there's always someone else out there who is doing something revolutionary and changing the world that 99% of the world don't know about, and it's something incredible. And they're the people we want to speak to. We want to see who is doing this stuff.
Them weirdos in the garage who are like knocking up stuff in test tubes.
Exactly. Yeah. That weirdo who lives next door to you.
Where there's strange coloured smokes coming out of the garage all the time.
Yeah.
Just go over and ask that person, do they want to be on our podcast?
He carries everything around in a Tesco bag, and you wonder why.
Yeah. Just unopened tins of stuff.
Yeah.
Tesco carrier bag. Oh no, sorry. Half opened, half eaten tins of cat food in a plastic bag by the bus stop. Oh dear.
We need an alien guest. Yes, we do.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That'd be pretty. Elon Musk, I hear he's alien.
Elon Musk, yeah, he's definitely an alien.
Naveen Jain is a bit of an alien
Elon
in a
Musk.
lot of ways.
Yeah.
Naveen Jain, who's CEO of Viome, he's definitely.
Naveen Jain. Naveen Jain, yeah. Yeah, he's got
quite
a brain like a computer.
Yeah, quite an incredible man.
Did you see as well, Tom, that Tesla have applied to become an energy supplier in the UK?
Just the UK?
Yeah. I think I just saw something flash
be
past.
Something to do with their rollout here as well, because Tesla has. It's like there are still cars selling here, but they're not selling to the level that they're selling in like California or in America in general, because there's not the charging systems here yet, the infrastructure for charging.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Tesla are like applying to be an energy source so they can actually put in a ton of charging points.
That would make sense. It also made me think, wouldn't it be interesting if... And that's the other thing, is that Elon Musk has another company called Solar City.
Yeah.
Which is about small, like residential to small company buildings, houses, taking in solar energy to essentially, and I thought, well, wouldn't it be interesting if they were trying, really pushing now, from America to the UK to create renewable energy sources. That'd be nice. Let's get Elon on, shall we? Anybody who knows Elon Musk, right? Give him a shout and tell him that we're looking for him.
Yeah. Elon, where are you?
Yeah.
Someone just asked what's in my ears. These are AirPods.
Oh.
someone that I'm not got like hearing aids in. These are.
They're quite futuristic, Tom.
Yeah, they're. I don't want to give any brand
No.
affiliation, but yeah, they're Beats by Dre ones.
Nice.
Yeah, they're good.
I saw one go past. Are you going to play Tiger King? Right. And the only reason I bring this up, Tom, is because
I'll be Carol Baskin. You be the other guy.
yeah. Right. Because I saw this Google Alerts where you can get an email if you've set up an alert like for your name,
Yeah.
Robert Sheehan actor or whatever. So I've had a flurry of Google Alerts recently saying that there are bookmakers in Ireland who are taking bets and giving odds that both me and Cillian Murphy are both quite hotly tipped to play the Tiger King, the guy from the Netflix documentary who, very flattered though I am, the man is about 30, 40 years older than me.
I mean,
Well,
it's going to have to
20,
marinate for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, unless they're doing like the life story, like him when he's younger and
Yeah.
his kind of his rise to Tiger fame.
Yeah. How did it all start for him? Yeah, I'd do that. I'd do the Tiger King prequel. I'd do the Tiger Prince.
That would be, yeah, because he's got quite a story, that guy. So that's almost the more interesting bit in a way, like how he got there.
How did he end up acquiring all of those?
Yeah,
Tigers?
cats.
Yeah. I'll just feed him from Walmart. I'll just feed him some turkey sausage from Walmart.
Yeah, all that man, and then he's feeding all the people that work there, all the kind of leftovers and all the. Because me and Laura we were a bit late to the party. We're only about 4 hours in, and it's bizarre. I don't know what happened, but I saw a thing that did. I'm sorry if I'm going to spoil this for anyone who's still watching it.
Spoiler alert! But
did they find Carol Baskin's lost husband? Is that true or is that false? That they actually did find him alive somewhere? Someone posted. My mate Keegan posted saying that they found him or something. I'm not sure if that was a scam. Yeah. So we were kind of watching it, going, "Oh yeah, but hasn't he been found now?" Someone just said, "Nope, no, they didn't." I'll say, "No, they haven't." No. Everyone's saying no.
No.
Carol Baskin killed her husband. Walked him. He's missing, man. Fake. False news. Thank you. There you go. That's why I love Instagram Live. No.
See, that's why we need you guys to grow this podcast with us.
Yeah. So this 1,000 and however many people are on here now, you are our opening disciples. And and
tricky language there, Tom.
Yeah.
Tricky
and
John Lennon got in trouble for that.
Mate, look what you look like.
All I'll say is, right, I'm wearing a robe that I stole from a hotel.
I was going to say that is definitely a hotel spa dressing gown,
which I did not pay for, or maybe they docked it off my incident.
Off the bill. Please tell me you've got those little slippers on as well, the little towel slippers.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Tom.
Damn, that would have been genius.
I'm actually wearing stilettos that go right to my thigh, but you can't see them yet, audience.
Not yet.
Tune into the podcast.
Yeah, you've got to go through at least 10 episodes before we give you that little prize.
Yes, but for now, keep calm and carry on.
I have a robe like that. Yes, I'm sure you do. Like stolen from another spa.
Yeah, and I don't even want to give the hotel the satisfaction
of which one it is.
Of telling, yeah.
I've never taken any of those because they never fit me. I look like I'm wearing like my girlfriend's little skimpy robe for a romantic night.
Well, that's a very specific look.
It is, yeah. If you see, on the new the Starsky and Hutch with Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson, there's that bit where they come out with those tiny little the hand towels. He goes, "They're hand towels, boys. Big towels on the top shelf." That's what I look like.
Yeah. I love the fact that you said that it's the new Starsky and Hutch as well, because it
it's like 10
16 years ago.
But the new one.
It's so cool. It's got Snoop Dogg in it.
Exactly, yeah.
It's totally down with the kids. Right. So what do you think, Tom? Should we go back and live our lives and leave?
I think we
these poor
should. Yeah, I've got. I think I've got a family I should go and help out with. So I left my poor wife Laura dealing with everything. But listen, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Plenty more where this came from. The Earth Locker. Look out for it.
Earth Locker.
It's coming
Love
very
you,
soon.
Byron. I think Byron's probably watching.
Yeah, or he's got bored.
Until
Oh, it's Byron's
makes you
birthday as well.
uncomfortable.
Happy birthday, Byron. Byron, who's
Oh, yeah.
our podcast co-host, is his birthday. So everyone say happy birthday to Byron. Big love.
Byron. And the other thing about the podcast is that there are gonna be field trip episodes.
Ah, yes, very important.
Tom, I'd like to nominate that we do a Byron birthday field trip and we go and get a colonic.
I'm sold. I'm so sold.
Colonics for Byron.
I'm so excited to do all the field trip ones because we're going to be doing things that ideally the things that you nominate for us to do. That would be really good. Like if there's something out there that you think we should try, let us know because we want to go do the whole thing and see what things you're interested in, and we'll go give it a bash. We'll be the gerbils or whatever they are, the guinea pigs.
The gerbils, guinea pigs.
The gerbils.
We'll
There was
be
something
lab
along those
gerbils
lines.
to be different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe we should bake Byron a birthday cake, a healthy birthday cake, and then take him on a colonic and see if we can see the birthday cake coming out at the end.
With the candles all in one.
Like, oh my God, that candle is still on fire. Byron, you have the most gymnastic guts. Oh, and also, folks, I'm drinking a bit of smoothie. It doesn't look very nice, but it's
There's a
bit
passion
smoothie.
fruit in that. What's in that? Oh, you just spilled it.
Yeah, there's a bit on the plate. That's how. It's blueberries, oats, ginger, a bit of apple cider vinegar, a bit of olive oil, a bit of black pepper, a bit of turmeric,
Oh, very nice.
and a kiwi.
Oh, very nice. Someone just said, talk about the Umbrella Academy. Not a huge amount to say right now, but season 2 is coming soon.
Yes, and I must say, Thomas, like yourself, I've seen the first 5 episodes. You've seen the first 5, right?
I have, yes.
Without all of their FX bells and whistles.
Yes.
But it's fucking enormous.
It's great. You guys are going to love it. You're going to love it.
And what was nice as well was the fact that we were talking to our boss man, Uncle Steve, the other day on Zoom chat, Steve Blackman, who, was saying that because of the staggered cinema releases, there aren't going to be big tentpole cinema movies that are going to be drawing everybody's attention. So he says the likelihood is the second series is going to do enormous numbers.
Yeah, which we hope, yeah. But it's the bonus of being in lockdown when these shows are coming out is that you get to just enjoy it and enjoy the stuff that we've been creating. It's a freaking great season of television. You guys are going to love it.
It is. It's delicious and just full of richness and texture.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, man. Well, why don't we say goodbye to the people of the world, Thomas?
Yeah, man. So we'll see you all again very soon. And we've enjoyed chatting to you all and answering your questions.
And drop us ideas on our Earth Locker page on Instagram of stuff.
Yeah, let us know. We'll be watching. We'll be looking at your questions, and we will be answering them.
Yes, and we will be doing all of your very sinister requests. The more sinister, the merrier.
Yeah, colonics will seem mild in comparison to your requests.
Right, Tom.
All right, guys.
Colonic and stomach pump at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Right.
All right,
On
guys.
that note,
Lots of love.
bye, world. Bye.